Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the Skip Barber Monday Lights. We're here for round 3 at Virginia International Raceway. Your commentary team tonight is myself, and some say he has a beard and some say he's got golden tonsils. Yes, it's Mr. McCullough. Welcome, Alex.
G'day, Bernie. Thank you for that sparkly introduction. Welcome everyone at home. Great to be here once again. I tell you what, Bernie, I was pretty nervous on the way in here tonight what sort of field we'd get turned up, but once again we've nailed it by a country mile for the strongest field of the week. So thanks to everyone for turning out despite the change in time zones this week with daylight savings coming into effect. We've seen a really strong field of 15 drivers turn up tonight to race what's quite a polarising track here at Virginia International Raceway. I've come to really enjoy this track after loathing it previously, but the drivers here tonight will no doubt be going pretty hard no matter what the case may be.
Yeah, they definitely will be. We've got an awesome field. I think we had about 45 drivers turn up. So, as you were saying, 3 splits. But at the moment, Enzo Cantor is on a run, and they just started qualifying, folks. So, none of them have completed their lap. But Enzo is seeded as number 1. Luke's seeded 2. We've got Timu Vascalampi seeded 3. Xavier Soul has joined us tonight. Also, Jeremiah Morton. We've got Bart Martinovich out there, Tim Hendrickson, Kevin Henderson, Vince Browning, Simon Schultz, Darryl Ridley, Mick Gray. We've also got Samuel Collins joining us tonight, as well as Alex John and Carlos Sorrentes.
Yeah, big strong lineup there, Bernie. Missing some of the overseas favourites that we've come to know on a regular basis here because of those time changes, as I mentioned. But certainly plenty of familiar names out there, Bernie. Some of the guys who potentially haven't had a run on the top split for a while. I'm thinking of the likes of Darryl Ridley, Mick Gray. Alex John did really well in the second split last week as well. Those guys are familiar with running in the big show, Bernie, so no doubt they'll be out to perform. Darryl Ridley in particular is one to keep an eye on, Bernie. He's got pace to burn. It's just a matter of whether or not he can tame this really tough circuit.
Yeah, and we'll see how he goes in qualifying at the moment. The first 2 are coming around shortly to complete their lap. Enzo Canto, Luke Whitten. If you click between the 2, they're hardly separated by half a car length, but of course they can't see each other. And we can see now Enzo Canto. He'll come across to post the time first. Then we'll see what Luke can do. He'll be posting his time right behind him.
Yeah, look, it's about a sub 2:10 minute lap on a good track, Bernie. About 41 degrees out there tonight, my telemetry's telling me, so we should expect to see guys dropping into about the 208s. Maybe, look, you're not likely to see a 207 here, as I see Enzo's just posted a 208.8. Luke Whitten with a startling time, 208.1, just a sub 208.2, so he might make me eat my words yet. I wasn't expecting to see a 207 in these temperatures, Bernie, but the quality up front is really something to behold.
Yeah, and Darryl Ridley, he's sitting in third with a 208.771. He's just been split by Timu Vascalampi, who went in with a 208.632. So I tell you what, like last week, I reckon we're going to be treated for a very close battle here for the at least top 5, as now we see who's that going into the fence. It's Darryl Ridley.
Darryl, that's a shame. Like I said, this track can bite you, but if you can tame it, as per what Luke's done here tonight, that's a fantastic effort. Luke's had amazing pace here all week, from what I've seen, certainly. It's just a matter of whether or not he can get the little mistakes out of his game. He's had a couple that I've seen here and there over the past couple of weeks. Just tonight, it'll be great to see if he can snag a great result, but just keeping on the straight and narrow and taking advantage of that pace that we know he's got.
Yeah, exactly right. And one of the viewers was saying Luke won the 2K Cup this morning. So,
what a fantastic effort that was. I've yet to catch that one, Bernie. Looking forward to watching it now.
Spoilers. But no, that's good. That's showing he's coming into form tonight, and let's hope he has a bit of luck, because generally in the Monday Lights he's got the pace, as you said. He just does not have that luck on his side at the moment. So let's hope this is a bit of an omen for tonight's race, eh?
Oh, I'll tell you what, it might be his day. Taking out a 2K Cup race is no mean feat. You've got to have the pace, the racecraft, and, the wherewithal to run with the best guys in the world. So, congratulations to Luke on that victory. Like I said, I look forward to watching that back. He did really well in the midweek, what was formerly the Super Soft Monday Night Lights, tending to sneak in a couple of good softs to take that title almost, but he did really well there. I think he finished second or third, or at least he was on the podium. So, a great week for Luke. Hopefully things can continue, Ben.
Yeah, well, it's looking good. Enzo increased his time, a 2:08.407, but Luke answered it straight away with a 2:08.005. So Luke's absolutely on fire at the moment. Kevin Henderson also sitting in fourth position and completed his quali by the looks of it. And I'm just having a look at Kevin's paint job. He's running a new paint scheme, unless my trading paints is not working.
Well, mine's certainly updated, but he seems to be running a similar one to I've seen him before, so maybe I just need to catch up a bit. But Kevin's fond of running a different livery each season, as we know, so we should see what he's come up with this year.
Yeah, I think my trading paints mustn't be working because I've got Darryl Ridley in a black and gold car. Would that be right?
Well, he generally he has. Yeah, I've got him in the JF player.
Yeah, that's the same one. Okay.
Delivery, yeah. So maybe we're all just catching up in our own time.
Yeah, I'd say Trading Paints is trying to catch up, but let's get to the grid anyway, folks, and we better get through it because it's going to be starting soon. That's the race. So let's have a look at the grid so you can see where your favourite driver will be starting tonight. So Luke Witten snatches pole with the 2:08.005. Enzo Kanda from Italy, he'll start next to him in grid 2. Timo Vascalampi from Finland will start in third, with Kevin Henderson from Australia, New Zealand in fourth. Out of fifth tonight will be Darryl Ridley. Then we've got Tim Hendrickson from Benelux starting in sixth position. In seventh, we've got Jeremiah Morton, followed by Bart Martinovic in eighth. Then we've got Xavier Sola from Iberia in ninth, and Mick Gray from Australia will start out of 10th. Out of 11th tonight is Alex John. Samuel Collins, he'll start out of 12th. Vince Browning will start out of 13th, with Carlos Sorrentes in 14th, and rounding out our field of 15 is Simon Schultz.
Yeah, great to see Simon back. He's not a regular down here, but he certainly knows how to drive. Fantastic pace from Luke there, I have to say. 4/10 ahead of Enzo there on pole. Just goes to show what sort of a purple patch Luke's in. Looking forward to seeing how he can stamp his authority on this race, Bernie.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because Enzo did improve his qualifying, but as I said, Luke responded immediately and snatched a good 3/10 off his lap. That second lap, so he's really thrown down his authority. It's now a matter of whether he can capitalise, but here we go. We'll wait for the revs to rise soon, and I'll make sure I don't fall off my seat.
It's tough to get a breakaway here, so it'll be interesting to see how Luke uses that pace. The draft here is kind of a sneaky one. It doesn't appear to do too much, but then there's a couple of straights where you can really get back in touch.
So we're waiting on Tim Hendrickson. He's joined. Revs are rising here at Virginia International Raceway, and it's green. They were held for a while, but they're underway now. Luke Witten got an awesome start there. Enzo Kanda dives straight across in front of Timo Vascalampi there to tell him that he's not going to come up the inside.
Absolutely. Race down to turn one now. It's full of action. Everyone looking to initially brake to the right, cut over to the left to try and take the inside line. Oh, I've just seen Mick Gray cop a touch in the rear. It looks like it might have been from Alex John, unfortunately. Getting caught out by that front. Mick's just, that first corner, Mick's just pulled over to the right. Looks like he might rejoin. No, he's too much damage, Bernie. He's gone straight to the pits. Yeah,
I saw him on the infield there, but at the moment Luke Witten's leading Enzo Kanda. Timo Vascalampi, he is on the back of Enzo as well. Kevin Henderson, great start from him, but he's got Tim Hendrickson all over the back of him at the moment, and then we've got Darryl Ridley down there in 7th position.
Yeah, Tim Hendrickson's had some great pace here this week, the Flying Dutchman. He's right on the coattails of Kevin Henderson there. Timo Vascalampi similarly has had great pace in the racing that I've seen here this week, Bernie. Haven't seen much of Darryl there in P7, but as Tim Hendrickson runs wide, rejoins the track next to Darryl, looks to hold the inside line. Almost ran him off the road there. Tim with a very aggressive rejoin there. Perhaps it was actually pretty skillful by both the drivers there, although I'm sure Darryl might not have seen it that way.
No, Darryl did an awesome job there, just backing out of it and avoiding that. I also noticed Tim Hendrickson's updated his paint job. And for those of you wondering what I'm talking about, if we jump back into Gyrocam there, you can see he's now got a note that says, "Don't mess up."
Yeah, it's a bit more family friendly. I know he did that for my benefit as much as anything else, but great to see him recover from that. He just let Darryl go through there on the straight, very long straight there, a lot of draft there as they come through the very tricky hogpin section on the way in. Side by side, Bart Martinovich, Jeremiah Morton, who we know, speaking to him before the race, hasn't done a lot of practice here, managed to get it done 2x2 through the hogpin birdie. No mean feat, and they've done very well to keep going with now Xavier Sola looking to make it 3 wide across the line. Little touch there on Bart Martinovich, sends him way out to the left, Bernie, and he might be thanking him for that.
Yeah, we're on the Gyrocam when that happened. It felt very NASCAR-esque to me, the way they were all going down that main straight. But back up the front, we've got Luke Whitten. He's not getting a gap, but he's holding it by 0.2 of a second behind in front of Enzo. Then we've still got Timu, Kevin Henderson, great run from him. He's hanging on to these four. And Darryl Ridley, he's now up to 5th position, just ahead of Tim Hendrickson. We saw that move before as they come off the top straight into the roller coaster.
Yeah, look, they've done really well because there was actually a gap there that looked like it would exceed the draft in these cars. The draft in these cars really taps out at about 1.1 seconds, but they've managed to get back onto that front pack to make it a pack of 6. That 2x2 through the hog pen last lap has unfortunately dropped Jeremiah Morton's group that he's ahead of at the moment, with Xavier Sola, Samuel Collins and Simon Schultz, with Carlos Sorrentes all the way back there in P11. They've been dropped by about 3 seconds now off that lead pack, Bernie.
Yeah, and Carlos is actually running his opposite colours now. He's white with pink polka dots, not pink with white polka dots, for all those players playing at home.
He's got a bit of a bent moustache in that front wing as well, Bertie, but great to see Carlos back. Car number 15 just scraping into this field with an I rating of 2,845 for those interested at home. So very strong field here once again. 3,671 is the strength of field overall tonight. And plenty. Carlos running wide there at the roller coaster there. Tricky turn 14, hairpin-like corner there. He's rejoining now behind Bart Martinovich, Bertie.
Yeah, we'll just have a quick look at that replay, and I reckon it was all the talk about his nice paint job that did it, but anyway.
Very true. Look, it's very easy to overcook it there into the roller coaster. He's just run wide there. And the off-camber nature of some of these corners that we discussed last year, once you're on the grass there's no coming back.
Yeah, now it's getting mighty interesting up the front here. Luke Whitten's gap was 0.3 of a second. Enzo has closed that down under brakes into turn 1. And they're starting to get a bit of a gap on Timu now. He doesn't want to let them drop too far because he is also falling into the clutches of Kevin Henderson, Tim Hendrickson, and Darryl Ridley. He's still trying to get on the back of this pack. He's almost there.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just, he's about half a second off the back. The trouble with this, if you don't get a good run through that series of turns, turn 4A, B, 5A and B, left hook in through the snake section now they're heading up. It's a real challenge there to get a good run, but if you don't get that series of very technical corners wrong, you get this long, it seems like a bendy, curvy bit here, but it's actually a straight. There's an immense draft you can pick up there, and with a front pack of 5 cars in front, if Jarrell's not careful here, he seems to have maintained quite well actually, you can get dropped off the back quite easily as they head around Oak Tree now. Again, Tim Hendrickson poking the nose, showing the nose to Kevin Henderson around Oak Tree, and if you don't get this run here, you can lose a lot of time even with the draft pack.
Yeah, Tim's pretty hungry to get back up to the pointy end, isn't he, after that bit of an off-track he had. He'll be kicking himself, but he's got quite a a gaggle of cars in front of him, and the next one's Kevin Henderson, and he's not going to make it easy for him whatsoever as they come into the roller coaster now. Oh, and Luke's around.
Yeah, Enzo got into the back of him. Oh, it stacks on there, Bernie. I think Enzo misjudged his braking and got into the back of him, back of Luke Whitten there, Bernie, but we'll have to go back and have a look at the replay, I think.
It definitely looked like that, didn't it? Let's go back to the super slow-mo. Can see now Enzo under brakes, and let's have a look at this, see if we can get a decent angle. Yeah, he's collected Luke under brakes there, and Timu's gone into the side of Luke, Kevin's gone in, and Tim Hendrickson's gone in as well. So that's our top 4 out. The only one that I think has come out of that is possibly Enzo Cantor with just a bit of front nose damage.
Yeah, unfortunately the nature of these cars is that the guy who has the mistake in the rear there tends to get away a bit better than the guys in front with the rear suspension just crumbling under pressure. That's an unfortunate pilot there. Really, they were all running so closely there, they had nowhere to go. And the one who's done pretty well out of that as well got away scot-free with no damage, I think, was Darryl Ridley, although Tim Hendrickson's really run him off the road on re-entry. So not the way we wanted to see this race go at the start of it, Ben.
No, we're riding in the gyro cam here with Enzo, and we'll just see he's lifting now as they're coming into the roller coaster. Yeah, and Luke braked, and Enzo went in there a little bit too hot and just spun him around. Just one hit, and managed to avoid any further contact there.
Yeah, look, that's a real shame. I was just about to make a comment that driving around here in traffic, because of the change in elevation, can often be quite challenging to do, to get right, because it's very hard to see your brake points, your turn-ins and all the rest of it. So look, simple mistake, a racing incident, no doubt, just a costly one for quite a number in the field, Bernie.
Yeah, it definitely is, and if we look at the ones that were affected by that, well, we know Luke Whitten was involved, Tim Hendrickson also involved, Timu Vascalampi involved in that, Kevin Henderson still sitting in second without the front wing on his car, and Enzo Cantor also doesn't have a front wing. So if we go through our top 5 as they stand, folks, we have Enzo Cantor leading by 1.3 seconds to Kevin Henderson, Samuel Collins, and we can see him on the screen at the moment. He's coming under a lot of pressure from Xavier Solar for 4th, and Darryl Ridley, he's hanging on. We just saw out the back there, who was that? Bart Martinovich? No, it wasn't. Might have been Jeremiah. Simon Schultz, was it, going wide?
Yeah, he just ran off wide. They're very easy to do. Any sort of tyre on the grass on the outside of those final corners, and you're gone. You may as well try and find yourself a navigator and a compass to get back. But Darryl Ridley now sitting in P5, battling side by side with Samuel Collins. Darryl was fortunate in so much as he lost a lot of time, but he didn't cop any damage. And I know he's got great pace, so he'll be looking to fight his way back up to solidify this top 5 position. Interestingly, Xavier Solar sitting on top of that pack there of 3 with Samuel Collins and Darryl Ridley. Xavier's a fantastic open wheel driver. We don't often see him in the skippies on a Monday night anymore. He's been racing in the higher categories, but he's got a lot of pace. I remember his first season, his rookie season, he went from rookies to Division 1 in terms of his I-rating that season. Wow. All in the skippies, so he's got a lot of talent. We're looking to see what he can make with this bit of luck that he's got out of this race, Ben.
Yeah, well, he showed his talent into turn 1 there. He went so deep under brakes. He took the number 13, and he actually had a bit of a 4-wheel drift as he pulled it up into turn 1 there, and it showed his good racecraft there. But now Darryl Ridley getting it run. Can he get on the back of Samuel? Well, he has. Now can he capitalise?
Well, it's interesting. The car in front, and Samuel Collins has got draft as well. We kind of get a double barrel job here. He pulls out to the inside now as Samuel really gets the draft kicking in, but he's rolled out of it. Very wise decision there, showing good race IQ from Samuel there, just to roll out of it. Darryl then able to take the corner naturally, and they won't lose the hard-charging Xavier Solar in front. You run the risk of that sort of style of move of dropping if you battle that next corner through the roller coaster now as they head through Hog Pen now, you can lose the guy in front and any chance of advancing your position. So smart move there by Samuel, Bernie.
Yeah, it was, and as you're saying, you don't want to go too wide up here, but here comes Darryl Ridley now. He's on a run. on the inside of Xavier Solar here. We know Xavier goes deep under brakes, but Darryl has made that job look, well, I won't say easy. Oh, I won't say it's too much too soon, because Xavier comes really close to the back of him and rolls out. But these three are having a great battle, and there's no contact, which is good.
No, really good battle there into turn one. Xavier rolled out of it, similar to what Samuel did on the back straight. And then Samuel poked the nose in, forcing Xavier to dive in at the apex and really defend that corner pretty hard. It gave the impression that he might run at the back of Darryl, but good car control there to keep it on the black stuff, and everyone survived to fight another day.
Yeah, and then looking back at 7th and 8th, Carlos Sorrentez now up to 8th position, and he's starting to catch on the back of Bart Martinovic. And of course Bart is, we were with him when he had that contact on the front straight and went off to, as you said, to find another compass in another land, but he has returned.
Yeah, he's managed to gather it up. Luke Whitten, our pole sitter, now fighting his way back. He's currently in P10, sitting about 2.3 seconds behind the finely clad Team Milo car, Alex John, who's himself trying to recover after that turn one shenanigans with Mick Gray. And unfortunately, Mick's had to take that tow in the pit. He's sitting all the way back in P15, running a lonely race, Ben.
Yeah, and once again, Luke's had some bad luck there. When it comes to the Monday lights, this guy can't really catch a break lately, so let's hope next week's his week, hey?
Yeah, really disappointed for Luke in that one. He had all the runnings of it, no fault of his own. He was driving a really good race, and just a simple mistake, unfortunately, has brought him undone. One not of his own doing. I was worried that he might have a little whoopsie tonight. He's had such a great week, but unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, as they say, languishing now back in P10, trying to fight his way back through the field, Ben.
Yeah, and meanwhile up front, this is a battle of the race here, folks. We've got Xavier Solar now defending from Darryl Ridley. Darryl on the inside. Is he going to outbrake him into turn one? He does, and Samuel thinks of having a nibble there as well, and these three are resuming back into the same formation they were one lap earlier.
Yeah, well, there's two key draft to pass opportunities here, Bernie, so I'd expect Samuel lets the rears lie quite wide there through NASCAR Bend as they go through left hook now on lap 7 of 12. There's two key passing opportunities, Bernie, out the back of the back straight, conveniently named, once you go through Oak Tree, and then once again as you go through the final series of corners and down the front straight over the line into turn 1, also known as Horseshoe. That's the two spots, Bernie. Yeah, through into the roller coaster and into Horseshoe, Bernie.
It's all right. I was reading all the comments in the chat channel there, so they all look like they're having a great time.
Yeah, shame not more of them are out here, Bernie, although I know a couple of them have time zone difficulties because of daylight savings, but I think the Europeans catch up with us or go back to their standard time in a couple of weeks, so hopefully some of the regulars will be back joining us again. But meanwhile, the on-track action sees Enzo Cantor. He's out front by 2.2 seconds from Kevin Henderson, who will have a big grin on his face. Generally likes the shoulder-to-shoulder racing, but P2 and a very high soft will be pleasing nonetheless, Ben.
Yeah, that's right. And what was the strength of field? I think you said it earlier. I just wasn't listening.
Yeah, 36.71, Bernie, so clear of the next highest strength of field by a good 200-300, so we're doing well once again.
Yeah, awesome. So I won't say I told you so.
No, I was pretty nervous before the race. But I tell you who should be nervous. Darryl Ridley chasing down Kevin Henderson. He's taking chunks out of him at every opportunity, Bernie. His last lap he was about half a second more, or half a second quicker than. And again, the timing has just updated. He was about 8/10 quicker, working well with Xavier and Samuel. Oh, there's a touch just as I give him a wrap. Xavier's got into the back of Darryl. Come on, Darryl, recover, get back on there. Hopefully he can rejoin. He was charging them up to catch Kevin, but unfortunately there Xavier's had a bit of a touch there and brought it all undone.
Yeah, and he wants to get a wriggle on here because Bart Martinovic and Simon Schultz are approaching Darryl now. And Darrell's back up to speed, four-wheel drift there. He's in no mood for mucking around now as he's throwing everything he can at that beautiful John Player Special livery.
Yeah, absolutely. Real shame there. He just sort of got a bit of a tight line into turn one. They had him, apex speed, I should say, was a little bit down, and that unfortunately led to Xavier just giving a little nudge in the rear. As Samuel Collins now sitting all over the back of Xavier as they go through this challenging left-hander on the approach to Oak Tree. Bernie through turn 11 now. Around Oceania, and they're still taking chunks out of Kevin Henderson's lead there, Bernie. Be interested to see if they can catch him.
Yeah, and remember, folks, Kevin Henderson does not have any front wing on that car, so that may be affecting his turn-in, which is why these guys, I think, are approaching him so quickly. But here comes Samuel Collins on the outside of Xavier Solo here. Let's see what he can do under brakes. Too wide, and Xavier's just lifting and letting him through. Good sensible driving there, and no doubt Xavier will get a run on him coming down the main straight as he's beautiful car control there by Xavier as he locks up and does a Scandinavian flick through the top of the roller coaster.
Yeah, he seems to have a bit of trouble picking the brake markers of other people here. Like I said, it could just be down to the changes in elevations, making it really hard to spot and also find the grip when you're that close to someone, Bernie. Because if you're braking in a spot that you're not used to, if you're not rolling out too early or early enough, it can really catch you undone and you can lose all grip. And as we've seen a couple of times tonight, unfortunately rear end the guy in front as they cross the line now. Lap 9, just the 4 remaining, Bernie, as they head out on lap 9 now. And Xavier just he actually lost a bit of time there to Samuel through that closing section, but once again the last laps there were pretty similar. They didn't really gain a lot of time there on Kevin, but they'll certainly be hunting him down.
Yeah, there's also a great battle here between Bart and Simon for 6th and 7th, and Bart just made a move on Simon. Now Simon's right on his backside once again as they come up. Where are they coming up? Turn 7, 8, 9 up towards Southern Bend.
Yeah, they're looking to have a great battle. Also having a great battle, Luke Whitten, who's made up a couple of positions now. He's now in P8, but he's got Carlos Sorrentes and Alex John, the sole Team Milo driver, out there tonight. He's sitting on the back of Carlos there as they're sitting in P8, 9 and 10 respectively. It'll be interesting to see if Carlos can hang on to Luke, although it's already out to a 9/10 of a second gap. It'll be interesting to see if he can hang on, but it's not looking likely at this stage.
No, and Carlos also has that moustache, as we see now. Alex John running off down near Oak Tree here. This is going to allow Tim Hendrickson to get that position. As he slides it through the corner, and I tell you what, there's some good drift action going on down here.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex John just put his 2 left side tyres in the grass on the approach to turn 11 there as they're headed into Oak Tree, and that's cost him dearly as Tim Hendrickson now drafts to the inside halfway up the back straight now as they head towards the roller coaster once again on the tail end of lap 9. Alex John sensibly rolling out of it there and just tucking behind the Tim Hendrickson, who's once again trying to make that recovery through the field, man.
Yeah, and I'm trying to work out with my old brain here what happened to Tim, but I guess that was from that big accident we saw, wasn't it? As we once again see Xavier and Samuel. Samuel went around the outside of him this time going down the main straight and makes that position up. Meanwhile, Bart and Simon go too wide back into turn 1 and Simon retakes that position, but now Bart's having a crack on the inside. Tried the over-under, almost worked. See what he can do here if he tries it again.
No, just tucks back in as they head through NASCAR Bend now, Bernie. Tough third gear corner, you can get it right. As Simon just runs a little bit wide there. They still want to be careful. You've got a hard charging Luke Whitten behind, just 1.2 seconds. They go side by side. Look like Simon got a rough run there through that technical section of the track. Now, Luke Whitten now sitting all over the back of these two. I imagine that with his pace, Bernie, and he's in the draft now, just half a second behind, he's right on their tail by the end of this twisty straight that isn't a straight. Let's call it the Clayton straight. Bernie, the straight game when you're not having a straight. Look at him, he's right over the back of them now as they head towards the South Bend now, Bernie.
And we're riding with Luke in the gyro cam here as they come down to Oak Tree. And I told you that tree didn't exist, Alex, but you don't believe me. You still think it's there.
I don't know what you've got on your screen, mate, but I got a ruddy great tree on that corner. I think our graphics settings are a little different, but it's Luke now ranging up on the back of Simon Schultz now. He'll look to pull out to the left and see if he can't commandeer P7 there. Being great recovery from Luke, showing he's got the base squeezing, making sure that Simon doesn't come back. And looks like he might be going for a 2-for-1 here, Bertie. Oh, can he pull it up? What are the two behind him going to make of it? Beautiful driving there, Bertie. He got a slingshot past, and can these two there hold on? What an overtaking manoeuvre by Luke there, Bertie.
Yeah, and of course Luke is in no mood to get caught up in a battle at the moment as he's pushing forwards. He's up to 6 now, 7 down from where he started, if that makes sense. It doesn't to me, but anyway. But up front we have Enzo Cantor leading by 3.7 seconds back to Kevin Henderson, and then we have the battle, Xavier Sola, Samuel Collins fighting it out for the final step of the podium. Darryl Ridley, he's starting to close back on them again, and then we've got Luke Whitten now chasing him down, Bart Martinovich and Simon Schultz.
Yeah, well, it's the battle of the 1.2. Xavier Sola, 1.2 seconds behind Kevin Henderson and closing in fast. Darryl Ridley was 1.2, made a little mistake through NASCAR bend and the left hook. He's now 1.4 seconds behind, so it looks like the young rabbit out front, Kevin Henderson, has been running for his dear life without his front wing. Has now got Xavier Sola and Samuel Collins breathing down his neck, Bertie. And I'd suggest that, depending on how they go through here, and if they stick line astern, they've got 1.5 laps to go now as they head through the South Bend now. Nice tight line there from Samuel. Xavier letting it run a bit wide, missing the apex, allowing Samuel to close right back up as they head through turn 11 now, round Oak Tree. It's a nice little picnic spot there too, with an umbrella there if you got the graphics up. But there's definitely a tree as they head out the back now.
An umbrella and a picnic area. I know what you're thinking about.
Oh man, I'll take a screenshot. Anyway, we got Enzo out in front by 4.5 seconds there. Xavier now being gobbled up by Samuel, and look at that, Bernie there, half a second behind Kevin now. It's like, oh, can Samuel pull that up? He got a great run there, but it forces him when you're on the inside there as you head into that roller coaster section there, Bernie. You really got to be careful, because on the inside line there, you really tighten up the hairpin there. Xavier ranging right on the back of Samuel there, I should say. But now Samuel full blown in the draft of the noseless Kevin Henderson, and I expect him to be having a look, if not here on the final lap into turn 1, Bernie, certainly up the back straight.
Yeah, we're seeing now Samuel's got the draft of Kevin here, having a look on the inside, decides against it. Oh, he locks it up. Watch out for Xavier coming up on the inside, takes that position back. And I tell you what, if you mess up slightly around here, you're going to get gobbled up. That's what's happened to Samuel. But our race leader, Enzo Cantor, out by 4.5 seconds now to Kevin Henderson. Kevin is just rubbing his hands together while the two behind him continue battling.
Yeah, absolutely. He took, again, that defensive direct line to the apex at turn 1. It caught Samuel out. Samuel's caught a little bit of no man's land as Xavier grabs a big bit of dust on the inside of the exit of turn 5B there, Bernie, as they run up this Clayton straight. Samuel's really got the run now, and Xavier lost any chance of catching Kevin. He's really going to have to rely on this draft. As you can see it now really start like an elastic band pulling him in as they head through South Bend now, and on the run into turn 11 and Oak Tree. It'll be interesting to see now what they can do with this draft at the back straight, Bernie.
Yeah, as they come through Oak Tree, you can see in the background there, folks, there's an Irish pub up there on the hill, and I'm sure Alex is heading there very shortly, but here we go, down to the last lap. We've got Enzo Cantor leading, but we've got now Kevin Henderson. He's defending from Xavier Sola, and Xavier, what's he going to do? He's coming out for a run now, and it looks like he may take that position, but Kevin's not finished yet. He's now going on an overlap. He's defending from Samuel now. Samuel's having a look, and oh my goodness, it's going off here.
Yeah, they've done really well there. Actually, Samuel poked the nose up there good and proper, but Kevin held strong and held his line, and I imagine he'll actually hold on here as they go through the final series of corners at Hogpen here, Bernie, and they seem to have sorted themselves out there as Enzo Cantor. He's going to cross the line. I imagine it'll be somewhat of a subdued wiggle, if one at all, Bernie. No, he's kept the wheels straight. I think he knows. He's probably had a rough run to the line there, and great to see Xavier Sola charge through there, and Kevin, of course, holding on for a great podium there with Samuel Collins just behind, and Darryl Ridley hanging on for that top 5.
Yeah, well, they were separated by 5 hundredths of a second, I think, from Samuel to Kevin Henderson at the line, and we might go back and have a look at the replay of that because it was mighty close.
Yeah, it was a great finish. That really was a great battle throughout, I thought. The guys put on a really good show there, and some really good driving in the face of some others who struggled tonight with just little mistakes proving very costly. So well done to those three. They put on a good performance.
Yeah, and we're just having a look at the gyro cam as they went across. There wasn't a lot in it, probably half a car length between Samuel and Kevin at the line. But yeah, that was a great battle, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. It was, yeah, I'll just look at it now. It was exactly a half a car length, or at least Samuel's front wheels are on Kevin's rears. So nice formation finish for those two after a great battle.
And we'll go through the final standings so you can see where your favourite driver finished. Just seeing Alex John now coming across the line, and I think he has finished. I'm assuming he's finished because he's limping at the moment. Or he might have been waiting for Mick to go through, I'd say. So they must have had a coming together, which we'll have a look at. But looking at your race results tonight, folks, and Enzo Cantor takes the win tonight with up 1 position from where he started. Xavier Sola comes home in second, up 7 positions from where he started. Kevin Henderson holds on to third, just ahead of Samuel Collins. Great battle by both of those. Darryl Ridley comes home in 5th. Luke Whitten 6th. 7th was Bart Martinovich. Then we had Simon Schultz home in 8th. In 9th tonight, Tim Hendrickson, followed by Carlos Sorrentes in 10th. Coming home in 11th was Vince Browning. Then we've got Jeremiah Morton finishing in 12th position. Home in 13th was Timo Vascalampi, followed by Mick Gray and then Alex John.
Yeah, look, it was the chat's recognising, although it is his teammate, but I'll give it to him definitely. Great sportsmanship from Alex John there in the Team Milo car. You may recall, Bernie, lap 1, turn 1, he just gave Mick a little nudge that forced Mick to toe and pit, and he's taken himself the whole race. But right on the line, he's just redressed that little faux pas, and it's cost him a fair bit, I have to say. That's around 68 I rating by my count for Alex John, but certainly 68 I rating well spent in the name of sportsmanship, I'd say, Bernie.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, no, it was good sportsmanship there. I was wondering why you're slowing down, but you've answered it all for me. So, yeah, it's, what an action-packed race. And I tell you what, VIR always turns on some sort of action, doesn't it? And it didn't disappoint once again tonight. But that battle at the end between Xavier, Kevin and Samuel, that was pretty nail-biting.
Yeah, it was worth the price of admission alone, Bernie, but I was a little bit disappointed that the race was brought a little bit unstuck early on. It was really shaping up there at the front, but you know, when the guys are pushing their limits right on the edge of grip and control, and these things happen. It was a simple racing incident that brought him unstuck. Very, very impressed with Luke Whitten's drive to get back through the field. Bernie, he was outside the top 10 at one point, if I recall correctly, and he made it all the way back up to P6 in a really high-quality field. Just goes to show what the pace and the skill of a man is to do that, Bernie.
Yeah, exactly right. So great recovery drive by Luke, that's for sure. But yeah, it was a very interesting night of racing. But looking at the week ahead, because it doesn't look like we've got any interviews tonight at the moment, Wednesday night we've got the Wankel Australia-New Zealand Championship starting 8:15pm GMT plus 11, and then Thursday night we've got the Thursday Night Thunder. That's a NASCAR trucks back. Friday night it's going to be another sprint round, this time at Suzuka, another 60/60 Australian Online Supercar Championship sprint round. I'll tell you what, Alex, those races go so quick, it's very hard to keep up with them. Last weekend, we had 53 supercars take for the 60-60, so you can imagine how hard it is keeping up with that when they've got 16 laps of racing. Then of course, Alex, we're back Saturday night for the world's fastest gamer, the final round at Interlagos, and we'll find out who's going to win that great qualifier and get the invite to the finals. But also Sunday night, I think the Australasian Super Skips are back on RRTV.
Yeah, 100% they are, Bernie. We're off to Road Atlanta this season. I'm looking to see if I can defend my one and only ever victory at that track, although I probably just put the mocker on myself. No, we had a bit of a run there last night. It was a bit of a practice run. It was good fun, great track, very enjoyable. Looking forward to the world's fastest gamer, of course. That competition just blows my mind in terms of what's on offer there. A permanent job with or at least a 12-month stint to begin with the Formula One team and the McLaren team. Fantastic opportunity for iRacers around the world. And then, of course, those V8 supercars. I can't picture so many cars on a track for such a short lap, particularly those monsters, Bernie. I don't know how you got through it.
Oh, I took a lot of headache tablets and bolted myself to the desk and away we went. But speaking of bolting ourselves to a desk, it looks like we've got Kevin Henderson down there. I'm saying bolting him to a desk because that's what I plan to do on Sunday night if he's going to join me on the Australasian Super Skips. And I might have to, unless he's going to unbolt himself and go racing like Mr. McKellar here.
That's right. Shall we bring him up for a bit of a chat, eh?
There you go.
Hello, Kevin. Alex McKellar here, mate. Welcome back to the RRTV commentary booth, mate. Solid third position there tonight after an eventful opening series of laps there, mate. Looks like you got through with a bit of damage, but they were certainly chasing you down as a rabbit there, mate, and an exciting finish as well. How was it out there for you?
Yeah, no, it's good. I had a good race, Bernie. Alex. Hey, Bernie. I lost my front wing in that little set two at the top of the hill there. And I just couldn't go with Enzo without the front wing. And then I always knew Xavier was coming for me. And he's bringing Samuel with him. I was pretty happy with third, but it was a pretty good result.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you did really well to get out of that big pileup with so little damage. Really tricky corner. Looked like it caught Enzo out there, unfortunately. And that was the end of what was shaping up to be a really spectacular front battle pack. But yeah, mate, really impressed with how you hung on and held off the faster charging pack behind you. At one stage it was three, and Xavier, Samuel and Darryl, and then Xavier, who I know from first-hand experience has got remarkable pace in the open wheelers. He just managed to catch you there at the end, but really impressed with how you held off Samuel as well, who himself had a great race from what I saw.
Yes, yeah, Samuel did really well there. He nearly got me going into the top of the hill there. I blew the oak tree on lap 11, I think it was. And if I could see myself, I would have been sitting there hanging my head, just shaking it. But never mind. I knew that once I did that, I knew that Xavier was going to get me. I really blew it. But apart from that, yeah, I had a pretty good race. It was a shame about that incident at the top of the hill there. It would have been a great race. I was happy just to sit back in fourth and try and hang on. I knew if I stuck with those boys, I'd have a pretty good gap behind me. But as it was, things didn't quite turn out that way.
Nah, that's it, mate. Well, a good haul of points and I rating for you here tonight, mate. 66 back charging towards 4,000 there tonight, mate. So good show in the top strength of field for the week once again, mate. So congratulations on that podium, and I'll hand you over to Bernie for a chat.
Yeah, thanks, Alex.
Hey Kevin, well done, mate. You're under a lot of pressure there. I was watching them hunt you down there, and every time they battled, you'd scoot off a bit, but one lap too late. But it was great defence, I must say, against Samuel. So good driving. See, I'm just going to comment. I'm not going to ask you any questions.
Fine, Bernie. I was asking myself and asked questions for the past half an hour, mate. Don't worry about that. Yeah, no, it was a really good race. I really like this track. I think this is one of the first tracks we televised on the Monday Night Lights, when you were commentating with Richard Craig.
Oh yeah,
years ago. Yeah, and I had a good night that night too, without a front wing that night either. So it must just be something about BIR that that my front wings don't like.
Yeah, so when you lost your front wing there, how much did that affect your the car? Did it affect top end speed or just the turning?
I think it has a bit to do with your top end speed, especially on those long straights. I just couldn't hang with Enzo. I did all right for a while, but as soon as I dropped out of his draft, he really started to pull away from me. If you can stay in the draft, it's not too much drama, but if you drop out of the draft without that front wing, you do tend to struggle a little bit. I was pretty lucky to get the third. I had a pretty good drive, I thought.
Yeah, you had a brilliant drive. No, it was a good drive, and from that first lap incident, I think you're probably one of the lucky ones that got out of that, even though you're in the thick of the action there, and you're lucky, I think, just to have lost the front wings, and nothing more.
Yeah, well, I was the last car in the pack, and I saw Luke turn around, so I was on the picks and looking for a hole, and it sort of opened up, and then I just squeezed through. They sort of sandwiched me in the front there and nicked me front wing, but I just managed to find the hole, squeeze through, and away we went, trying to keep up with Enzo, which, for me is mission impossible, but, you've got to have a go.
Oh, exactly right. Speaking of having a go, are you joining me Sunday night?
Sorry, what?
Australasian Super Skips. Were you racing or were you commentating Sunday night? I'm putting you on the deep end, like right on the spot, on live YouTube.
Well, I was told I wasn't commentating.
Okay.
I was told you were crook and you weren't broadcasting.
No, that was last time. I'm good now.
Last time. Yeah.
This one, they're coming. Next one coming. Yeah. Bit there, Bernie. So, look, mate, as far as I know, I'm commentating. I'm happy to do it. If you're happy to have me, I'm more than happy to do it.
Yeah, I promise I shouldn't be sick.
Yeah, well, I'll hold you to that, Bernie. If you are, I'm going to dock your pay, mate.
Yeah, well, I tried to tell you early so you could actually go and drive. That's what I was trying to do, but obviously Alex didn't pass on the message.
It's always my fault, isn't it?
No, Alex did pass on the message. I was actually really tired, and I just thought, I just give it a miss. I was pretty tired, and I hadn't done any preparation, so I was probably more of a hazard than anything. So I give it a miss that time.
Yeah, no worries. Well, anyway, Kevin, thanks for popping in, man, and great racing tonight. Is there any sponsors you want to thank for tonight?
Just of course, once again, RRTV, you, Bernie, you, Alex, and all the guys that turn out to race. It's a real community thing. We've got such a good thing going with these Monday night lights. Really great races, good strength fields, and just thanks to everyone who turns up and makes Monday night great again.
No worries. Well, speaking of Monday nights great again, it's just about time for me to go because I think I got a Guinness, but anyway, we won't go there. Told you there was an Irish pub down near the one tree. Okay, getting on to more serious matters here, folks. Luke Whitten gets the fastest lap tonight. 2:07.624 was his fastest lap. His previous lap, the last lap he did, was a 2:07.822. So, I guess if only that incident didn't happen, it would have been interesting to see how that battle would have unfolded. But hey, that's motor racing. It happens. And, I think there's a shirt that says that as well, Alex.
That's right. Fantastic recovery there from Luke, setting some really hot times. Just big shout out to the guys in the second split tonight. Rick Davis, I think that's potentially a maiden victory for him. Mark Jeffrey, another staunch regular for Monday Night Lights, finishing in second. John Schultz in third. Isaac Jane in fourth. Matthew Hobbs, we were talking about him before the race. Car number 1 finished in P5. Great to see Brian Inglis, who was and remains a Monday Night Lights favourite, all the way over from Kiwiland. He told me he was going to struggle with the time zone difference and the switch to daylight savings, but he's pulled out the big one, stayed up real late, and he's managed to hang on for 6 minutes. So big shout out to Brian, and well done to all those guys who, as Kevin said, they've turned out to make Monday Night Lights what it is.
Oh, definitely. I'm thinking we should put this to the people in our chat room. How about next week we cover Split 2 on the broadcast?
Well, there's an offer.
I'd have to lose too much I rating, Bernie.
What's that?
I was just saying I'd have to lose too much I rating.
I could loan you mine. Well, actually, there probably wouldn't be enough there to get you into Split 2, but anyway.
No, we talked about that for a while, so it could be next week then. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, well, I think we should cover a couple of those this season. I think it'd be good. I think if I can tear you away from Top Split, and we'll go and cover that. Get it? Top Split? Yeah, good.
Yeah,
anyway.
Gotcha, all the way, mate. Yeah. Well, let's just see how the cards fall in terms of who gets in there. I'd hate to cover it with a bunch of people that weren't regular. So we'll just see how the cards fall. We'll be able to tell before we join the server. We'll make a quick decision and see if we can't get some guys on the second split up for a good show.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll see how it looks, folks, and then we'll make a decision on the night. But if it's not next week, we'll keep on looking just to see where the cards fall, so to speak, and then we'll cover one or two of those races. But anyway, folks, we're at the end of our night tonight. Once again, Alex, what do you have planned as far as your week goes?
Oh, well, I'll probably be streaming tomorrow night on Twitch TV. Just check out the Top Split TV. And then I'm planning on running the WANC, the Pro Masters, if I can, broadcast once again on the great RRTV on a Wednesday night. And then probably some more streaming later in the week, depending on how things go. But certainly the next two nights will be chock-a-block full of action for me as well.
Yeah, so it'll be like a simulcast on Wednesday night. We'll have the normal broadcast as well as Alex streaming. Never know, Sam might also join us from Sam Catacasinos Racing. He may turn up as well and stream, and then we can have Battle of the Streamers once more, as I call it.
Yeah, we had a great fun race last week until Sam had an unfortunate incident, but I've been thoroughly enjoying the couple of races I've done in there. It's a great series, great local talent on display, and great fun to drive.
Yeah, it looks like fun to drive. It's definitely fun to call, that's for sure. But anyway, folks, for everyone that's joined us tonight, thank you very much, whether it was on iRacing Live or YouTube. Thank you. If you did tune in from iRacing Live, big apologies if the time was wrong. We've just gone to daylight saving over here and we're out by an hour, but things will settle down for next week, that's for sure. But apart from that, hopefully we'll have your company back on Wednesday night. But if we don't, have a great work week, and we look forward to your company again very shortly on RRTV. So on behalf of Alex McKellar, I'm Bernie Weemers. Good night.